He stumbled, feeling the heat of the torches near his face, the stench of sweat mingling with smoke. Voices roared around him, each one more hostile than the last. "Get out of the way! You're no one to stop us!" The stone ground scraped his knees as he fell. Hands rose, ready to strike. A fist gripped his hair, yanking it as if he were nothing but an obstacle to be discarded. But then, the door of his house burst open. A rush of air swept through the threshold. Something unseen, yet overwhelming, moved through the crowd, and before the first blow could land on Lot, darkness fell over the city. In an instant, he was yanked with a strength no man could resist. The world spun around him. Suddenly, he was no longer in the dust of the street. He was inside his house, and the hands that had seized him were not human. Before Lot could even understand what was happening, the door slammed shut behind him with a crash that shattered the night. The echo rang through the house, while outside, the crowd stood frozen. The torches flickered. Something was happening. Something no one could explain. Lot turned to look at the strangers. They no longer looked like ordinary travelers. The lamplight shimmered against ageless faces, their eyes fierce and unwavering. The air inside the house felt different, charged with a presence that made the skin tremble. Outside, the first screams of panic broke the silence. The men of Sodom clutched at their eyes. They stumbled, fell, and clung to one another in the sudden total darkness that had swallowed their world. The shouts that had once been filled with rage turned into cries of confusion. Desperate hands reached out into nothing, searching for stability in a world suddenly swallowed by shadow. The men of Sodom were blind. One fell to his knees, rubbing his eyes furiously. Another stretched his arms into the air, as if he could grasp the light that had vanished in an instant. The mob that had roared moments earlier now staggered without direction. Some stumbled over stones, others crashed into each other, spinning aimlessly in a darkness that wasn't in the night, but inside their own minds. "What is this?" one cried, his voice cracking with panic. "I can't see anything." The torches still burned, but their flames held no light for them. The city that had always been theirs was now a maze without exit. The same men who had pounded on Lot's door with arrogance were now clinging to walls like frightened children. Inside the house, Lot looked at the strangers, his breath short and shallow. They hadn't moved a single finger. They hadn't raised their voices or lifted a weapon. The darkness had fallen by a command that needed no words. Outside, the crowd continued to stumble in their own despair. The night was far from over, but their judgment had already begun. Dawn had not yet come, but the night already carried a different weight. Inside the house, the air felt thick, charged with an urgency that could not be ignored. Lot looked at the strangers, who still stood motionless, with the same impenetrable calm they had shown since their arrival.